Dave Lee from Dave Lee Down Under.
Dave Lee. I'm Leigh Whannell from Down Under via Los Angeles.
Please, Daddy, it's me. Hurry, Mommy is coming.
We met very briefly the other night at the Melbourne premiere. Great movie. I loved it so much.
You.
It's great to sit and have a bit of a proper chat with you now. I'm a big fan of The Invisible Man as well. So this is just
thank you.
So exciting. I am the biggest softie when it comes to horror films. I'm getting better. I really love most of the sort of elevated horror stuff that's coming out now. Golden Age horror, psychological, supernatural stuff. I can't do gore, slasher, splatter stuff, so I can't stomach the Saw films, for example.
Right. It still happens to me as well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, remember the film Raw that came out a few years ago?
Yeah,
boy, that was tough. That was tough for me. Yeah. It's weird.
Can't touch that one.
Yes, it's very. It was hard to take.
I love your more, I guess, studio horror stuff that you've directed or written, like this or Invisible Man or Insidious. There's some pretty gory stuff in Wolfman, but it's never too much to handle. It seems like there's a real art in making horror accessible to the widest possible audience. What's your secret?
I don't think there's a secret. I mean, I'm just as nervous with any movie I have coming out as I was with my first film. It's not as if as time goes by I start to learn the rules and the secrets. There is no secret. It's what's exciting about films for sure is that it is such gambling. You're just rolling the dice and you're spending people's money and you're gathering hundreds of people together to work on this thing. You really have to believe in it. I mean, think about the amount of movies that come out each year that have come out. And I'm sure this is something you think about a lot, but given that you're a movie fanatic, such a tiny percentage of them really connect with a huge audience. Most films, unfortunately, most pop culture, but let's talk about films specifically, most films just disappear into the ether of, into the cosmos. Like they float across our field of vision and then they're gone. And, really, there's a select few movies that stay with us. It feels like there's more because people on Letterboxd will make lists of their 100 favorite movies or whatever. And so it feels like a lot, but 100 movies is a tiny amount compared to the amount of movies. So I feel that. I feel that sense of culture swirling around me. All my competitors, which means any other movie or TV show that's being made, they're ringing in my ear when I make something. So it feels like there's not a secret. It's an anti-secret. It's just throwing dice down the craps table and hoping for the best. Maybe that wasn't the answer you were looking for because people listening, to your show will be wanting some hope, some advice about getting in, but I have to give the realistic answer.
No, I'm obsessed with the creative process. I think it's fascinating, and I love just any tidbit from any creative.
I mean, me too. I'm as obsessed with you are. I think feature film writing especially is a lonely profession if you're doing it on your own. This film I co-wrote with my wife, but usually it's just me in a room. So I really enjoy meeting up with other feature writers. I bombard them with questions about their process.
Yeah.
When do you write? Are you a morning writer or an afternoon writer? Or do you write late at night? Do you write in a notepad first? Do you start with a laptop? I'm really obsessed with these fundamentals because I want to feel less alone in the world. My process is just, if you're interested, I start writing around 12 p.m. I'm a 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. writer every day. And I always start with a notepad and I listen to a lot of music, constantly listening to music. That's my process.
That's perfect. I love that. And we're speaking at 12 p.m. too, so perfect time.
Exactly. We're right in the creative pocket.
Yeah. You have spoken at length on this press tour about your desire to steer away from a more traditional werewolf story with the classic transformation and all of that stuff. But you've gone so far that you've not even used the name Lawrence Talbot for your character in this. There's no real traditional werewolf lore that's so tied with the property of the Wolfman, like the silver bullet and the full moon. Was it difficult for you to, A, move away from all of this iconography, and B, convince the studio that this was a good idea in rebooting one of their iconic characters?
I think it might have been difficult to convince them it was a good idea if I hadn't just done The Invisible Man. I think there was a level of trust there. Yeah, if I was coming in fresh, they might have blanched a bit, but they gave me a bit of rope. You know, in Hollywood, it's all based on economics, right? Success breeds trust. Yeah. You know, so they'll give you more rope as you prove yourself. So I think that was good. Maybe they're secretly wringing their hands about it, but what they were expressing to me was that we trust you. And, you know, it's interesting. I like your question because it allows me to address something like when you're talking about me not approaching it traditionally. It's on a press tour, you know, you're answering these questions and maybe you start to fall back on certain stock answers, and then you can see a narrative take hold, especially in this clickbait era that we live in. Sometimes you'll see a narrative take hold, which is, you know, with a film like Elvis, this narrative emerged that he stayed in The Voice and it had changed his voice. And that's fairly harmless for with something like this. I would hate a narrative to emerge that I just didn't care about the Wolfman character, or I ignored everything. I ignored the things that people love, because I can imagine that little internet troll that lives on my shoulder saying, you know, oh, who do you think you are? What sort of ego do you have to completely trash this loved, iconic character? It's, for me, my rebuttal to Mr. Troll would be, it's not that I'm ignoring the traditions, it's that I'm trying to reinvent it, recontextualize it, so that the audience goes, wow, I'm getting everything I want from a Wolfman movie, but through a different lens. Because you have to remember, they very recently made a film. Universal Pictures made a film 10, 15 years ago, which stuck very closely to the original story. It was set back in the 1800s. Lawrence Talbot, it was, you know, Benicio del Toro and Emily Blunt. So there is this recent version. I feel like that version of that movie pretty much ruled out my traditional period approach to the movie. So I feel like the battle I'm trying to win is the battle of quality, not the battle of strict adherence to the law. Because the quality battle lasts longer, I think. In 20 years' time, that's when you'll appreciate it. And as you know, you can get beaten up on the internet. Look at what happened with Rian Johnson in The Last Jedi. He made a couple of decisions that were outside the box. He wanted to push Star Wars forward, and he got punished for it in certain circles. We could probably talk about that all day. So it's, but I like what Ryan did with The Last Jedi. There's your headline. I love Ryan. He's a friend of mine, and he's a great filmmaker. So I was ready to love his movie, and I wanted him to come in and do something unique with Star Wars. So yeah, it's a very interesting battle that you have to fight between reinvention and strict adherence.
Yeah, I love that answer. And look, I love what you've done with this movie. I love what you did with The Invisible Man and that just sort of steering away. You've done a really great job. I love what Ryan did with Star Wars as well. But look, our time is up. I've loved your answers. It's been great to chat with you. And
yeah, it's great to chat to you too. I like your theatre in the background. Is that a screen?
Thanks so much. No, that's the home theatre right there. So.
Oh wow! Oh man, you're doing. I love a good home theatre. Well done.
Lots of fun. Look, mate, thank you so much. I appreciate your time. All the best with the film.
I appreciate you too. Thank you.
Thank you.